verse 17. That's it, right? This martial law is coming here. The martial law is going to come here, whether you like it or not, right? The next false flag attack jump off, right? Or when the economy collapse, right? They're going to declare a nationwide martial law. They're going to have checkpoints, roadblocks in your streets, right? The Bible prophesied of these things. It's going to happen, all right? Why do you think DHS purchased 2.6 billion rounds of ammo, right? They've militarized the police, right? And if you notice what's going on, the citizens are arming themselves, right? The two forces are going to clash. There's going to be a civil war here. That's prophesied in the Bible, all right? That's prophesied in the Bible. You're going to have anarchy and chaos in these streets, and the blood is going to be flowing, right? Blood is going to be flowing in these streets. Y'all just watch, all right? That hour of temptation is coming. That hour of temptation is coming, all right? But I'm going to show you when men of the Lord was put on the spot, right? They either go along with the program, right? Go along with the program the government set up, right? Or willing to die for the name of the Lord, willing to die by man's hands and not put to death by the Most High. These are the decisions that we're going to have to make, right? These are the decisions we're going to be faced with, that we're going to have to make these decisions, right? But I'm going to read the account of men of the Lord who stood up, right? Who stood up and made those choices. You understand? So we have these men, understand, that we could read about, right? And get built up by these men. All right? This is 2 Maccabees 6:17. Says, but let this that we have spoken be for a warning unto us, right? Let this be for a warning. All right? And now we will come to the declaring of the matter in few words. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth. All right, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. Let me read that again, Salakia. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. Now the Greeks, right, the Greek army was telling Eleazar, right, which is an Israelite, he was supposed to eat swine's flesh, right? Now, our law, being an Israelite, our law, eating pork is forbidden. We ain't even supposed to touch a pig, right? We're supposed to touch a swine. It is an unclean animal. But the Greeks was telling us to go against the Most High's law and eat the swine, right? It says, verse 19, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live, staying with such abomination, spit it forth and came of his own according to the torment. So he said, right, he'd rather to die gloriously, right? He'd rather to die gloriously, right? Than to live a stained life, to have that stain on his name, right? To have that, he eat damn swine's flesh on his name. Do you understand? That's defiling the temple. That's defiling the temple, right? But he'd rather to die than to do it, right? He'd rather to die than to eat swine's flesh, right? As it behooves them to come, that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for the love of life to be tasted. But they that had the charge of that wicked feast for the old acquaintances they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use and to make, as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king. Just to wrap this up in a nutshell, right? They told Eleazar, right, he could eat his own food, his own provision, right? He could eat what the Most High had for us to eat, all the clean things. So he had his own food. They told him he could eat it, but they were going to tell the people that he eat the swine's flesh, all right? Why? To have his people turn against him. You understand? But that's how they operate, man. Before this government does anything, before these devils do anything, the first thing they do is discredit you. What they always do before they make any move on anybody is they discredit you. All right? They blast you all over the media, right? Edit whatever you say. They edit it all out, right? And make you seem like you're evil and you're wicked, right? They turn you against. They make it seem like they turn you into an enemy of the state, basically. That's what they do. They turn you into an enemy of the state. All right? Make everybody hate you, so it's easier for them to come and take you out. All right? Yes. That is no doing that he might be delivered from death. Verse 22. That in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor. Verse 23. But he began to consider discreetly, and as become his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head, with whereunto he was come, and in the most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by the Most High. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightway to send him to the grave. Meaning he was considering, right, the pros and the cons, right? If I do eat the swine flesh, I'm only going to live for a little while longer, right? But he's like, that is not worth it. It's not worth eating the swine flesh to live a little bit longer and to get put to death by the Most High and have a stain to his name, right? So he said, you know what? Send me to the grave, right? That's what he said. He said, send me to the grave, right? Verse 24, for it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to dissemble, whereby many, in any wise, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10, were now gone to a strange religion, right? The younger men who are looking up to him were thinking he went away. He went off to the side, right? He went and started following the customs of the heathens, right? Verse 25, and so they through mine hypocrisy and the desire to live a little time and a moment longer should be deceived by me, and that I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable. So he said he's not going to do it, right? He's not going to sell out to live a little bit longer, you understand, and have the younger generation, the younger men coming up, follow after him, thinking that it's cool to do. He wasn't with that. Right? But he was made a martyr. He was made a martyr so the younger guys, the younger men coming up, could use him as an example. Right? Verse 26, for though for the present time I should be delivered from the punishment of men, right? Meaning if he was to eat swine flesh, they wouldn't torture him. They'd let him go back into society, right? Yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive or dead. He said, but I would not escape the hands of the Most High, alive or dead. You understand? Meaning there is no escaping the Most High. It's better to be put to death by man's hands than the Most High, man. That is common knowledge. You understand? Because man can only kill the flesh. The Most High killed the spirit and the body. You understand? The Most High would turn you every which way but loose. Understand? It says, verse 27, Wherefore now, manfully, changing his life, I will show myself such an one as mine age requireth, and leave a notable example to such as be young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he said these words, immediately he went to the torment. After he said this, they took him and tortured him. Right? After he said what he said, they took him and tortured him. Understand? After he told the younger generation coming up, the younger men, and everybody who's watching him, all of his kinfolks, the Israelites, right? He laid for them an example to follow. He said it's rather to die for the Most High laws, statutes, and commandments, right? It's rather to get put to death by man's hands than to go against the Most High and break his laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? That's just one example. I'll give you another one. 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 20. This is when a woman who had 7 sons. Right, this woman had 7 sons, and they were all tortured. All tortured, man. And she was too. You understand? It even came to the point where they wanted them to sell out. They were offered to put them as rulers over the city if they would just go along with the program. And they did. And we're going to read the account of it. 2 Maccabees 7, verse 20 says, but the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with good courage because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach, she said unto them, to show you the type of woman this is. Now this is a real Israelite woman. This is a true Israelite woman. This is what all the Israelite women need to be aspiring to be, just like this woman I'm reading about right here. Understand? This is what every Israelite woman, you people on this side, right? The women of Negroid, Latinos, Native American Indians, the Hispanic descent, right? Y'all are the true biblical Israelites, right? And the women need to be just like this woman I'm reading about, all right?